Super Hits 104.9 WAXI, Rockville, Clinton.
All right, folks, got four dance here. Ready to see it? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks all for coming. Don't have too much in the way of business, so we should be able to go through fairly quickly here. We've got the minutes were sent to us.
I wasn't here for last. Jan wasn't here, so I make the motion to approve the minutes from December 5th, 2022.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Then we have the exec minutes.
And I'll go ahead and make a motion on that as well, that we approve the executive session minutes from December 9th.
And I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Just so you know, exec session, of course, we can't discuss what the exec session was about. We can discuss what the issue was, but not any of the discussion. But we still have to approve minutes saying that we did hold the meeting was called to order, and the meeting was held after the discussions took place. So that's why that has to be done. All right, then we have payroll amount of $184,529.90.
I'll make a motion we approve payroll, the amount of $184,529.90.
And I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, then we have to acknowledge receipt of the payroll claims accounts payable report in the amount of $182,407.72. Now, our minutes say 72 cents, this says 42 cents. Which one would it be?
The 42.
42, okay. So I make that motion, we approve, we acknowledge receipt of the accounts payable report in the amount of $182,407.42.
And I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Before we get to all these other things under new business, let's go ahead and have core facilities come up. He's got a drive to get back to where he's got to get to. So, man, if you'll come on up. Matt Steckley is with Core Facilities. He's the entity that has done the legwork prepping for 4 major projects that we had and has worked with those through completion, and that's what we're going to get a report on today.
Appreciate your time, Commissioners. Thank you. I will be brief. Thank you for moving me up on the roster. Okay, so officially it's been a while, but all 4 projects are 100% completed.
Great.
Much of the year, I know we awarded all this early in terms of the full bid specs, RFP. That's all been long wrapped up, but there was, obviously, as everyone's aware of, supply chain procurement is an absolute train wreck nationally, if not globally. So much of the delay was just literally materials and equipment across all the projects. I don't like to start. I know contractors want to start piece by piece. I don't start anything unless everything's in. We're not playing that half show up and not show up. Once we show up, we're going all the way to completion. So the 4 projects were the new fire enunciator system at the courthouse, the electronic flush valves, upgrading the entire jail from your old pneumatics. As you know, it's harder and harder to get parts for those, and then you get the water savings.
Not to interrupt you, but on that, while we're there, what issue did you find with the seals? You had to replace the
Yeah,
seals? Okay.
we'll go over that.
Oh, okay.
The other was upgrading your dual domestic hot water boilers at the jail, and then the 7 Resner furnaces that were all past their life cycle, and you guys really made an awesome decision to invest, and you guys are good to go with heating wise across the entire facility. So those are your investments. The total across all 4 for what was awarded was just a hair under $430,000. Everything is wrapped up. Multiple all 4 projects the last 6 to 8 months, weekly, semi-weekly conference calls, and then on-site, regular communication, full inspections, and yeah, I'm here today to say we are wrapped up. So I'm just going to run through these one at a time. We will take the 7 Resner furnaces. Everything without a hitch, all 7 went in. We had to remove 1 so the domestic boilers can get installed just due to room, and Mr. Meese was up there as well and saw that. That last one's been installed, so that, your 7 furnaces went in without a hitch and everything's completed and wrapped up on that. Your dual domestic boilers, the way I ran that bid, the tank, they built the building around that huge tank. So that went into the women's shower below, which wasn't really used, and then we redid all the piping. And I brought, per my specs, I brought the piping all the way out to where, before it enters the facility. So new piping, new pumps, new valves, new mixing valve, check valves. I mean, you go up there now, there's ample room. It's all new piping, it's all insulated. There's 1 small item on a punch list. There's a relief valve drain that is not anchored. Literally take them 2 seconds, but that will be done. But other than that, everything's been approved and walked through and toured and tested. So that's done. The electronic flush valves, that was wrapped up maybe a month and a half ago. And then the fire enunciator, we wrapped up in terms of the fire department and all hands on deck about 2 weeks ago. So everything's wrapped up. I have a few things, one, just feedback on the 4, but some really great news more on the financial side, to kind of show you how everything went down. So across the just under $430,000 across 4 projects, that the only change order, the only legitimate change order, which was an unforeseen duct detector, which included additional wiring, that was not on your original drawings. No one even knew it was there until we installed. That was the only change order in the amount of just over $3,000. So across $430,000 with 1 change order of $3,000, you're 0.75%. That's, no one does $500,000 worth of work, and that's the only change order.
I made that point to some group of commissioners were meeting before. We were talking about what you offer and what you have and how we benefited from that. And of course, they're all, like all jobs, used to change orders. Change orders typically are something that the engineer missed or somebody missed, or we thought this would fit, but now it's not going to fit because somebody didn't measure. I made sure they understood that we had none like that. Only this new thing that you found that nobody even knew existed for the duct. Nobody could have perceived that. So I want to make sure they understood that.
I really appreciate, when I say I'm your safeguard, no one knows what they're looking at or holding down the fort.
And get no water, keep talking.
Yeah, no, so this is a huge home run. In fact, if I have your permission, I'm updating my website. It's 5 years old and I've got 100 of these types of stories, but with your approval, I would like to list that on my website as a success, that Parke County basically $500,000 of work with one $3,000 change order. So basically, we did have, which again, when I mentioned change orders, in reality, you had 0 change orders. No contractor said, oh, we missed the change orders, we missed this, we didn't know this. I did my due diligence, and that's the safeguard.
Or we thought it would cost this much, but really it cost this much, so we need another $20,000 out of you.
And to be honest with you, the $3,000 change order from F.E. Moran for that duct detector, that, by the way, I could share that email with you. That originally came across as $7,600. And without me no one even knows behind the scenes, yeah, you better sharpen your pencil because that's unacceptable. Magically, I get one for $3,000. So it's just stuff like that that's really awesome and really cool to see. We did have the $20,000 inflation from when we bid it to then the inflation, everything shut down. That's unproject related. It's all additionals, but that's not the typical change order. So anyways, moving on, the only issue, which no one really admits mistakes, I'm legitimate and so I will. Going forward, I will never do a boiler project or a water shutdown knowing I also have flush valves coming. So we did the electronic flush valves and we ended up having to that was all done, everything was completed and working. We did the boilers, we had to take the boilers down, the main facility water. When we turned that water back on, it loosened everything up and we plugged 20-something diaphragms. not a big deal. Willoughby Industries gave us 20 for free.
Great.
Like, no big deal. It was literally just getting folks back on site on T&M. So that's what I'm here today. AMS, who was installing the boiler, took a whole day and a half away from the project to chase this down, and then HFI, who installed them, sent a guy for 2 days. So that was just T&M. So that basically I've got those changes for chasing down the issues with the flush valves. I'm willing to raise my hand and say that was probably my mistake. I should have, knowing both were on the docket, I should have did the boilers first. It won't ever happen again, but I never thought turning that water back on would have broken up all that rust and sediment and just plugged some of those little plastic diaphragms. So anyways, that's your overall numbers and financials on what came in. Even if you included the T&M, the $20,000 for the additional cost from the manufacturer and the real change order, you still were at 6% of the project total. So,
Good.
all right, so I have here today HFI for $2,475, which was the guy on site 2 days rebuilding those diaphragms.
Pass it
So we
along.
would need, obviously, a vote on that. And then regarding to the boiler, so AMS also chased that down. I have AMS's I've been dealing with the auditors on pay apps. Everything is done and approved. This is the last one. And I've got one for F.E. Moran as well. But I'll work with the auditors and make sure pay apps are done on my end and then forward that. But I have here today AMS, for them to get away from their project and chase down, that was a total of $921. So AMS actually has their final pay app. This is what I send to the auditor saying I reviewed it and the amounts, but they took their balance and added the 921. So upon approving the 921, this can go right to the auditors for the final payment.
Okay. But the only two we're gonna have today?
On the heating, and then we've got the agreement like we discussed for monitoring with F.E. Moran.
Okay, let's do these two first then. We have two invoices here for the chasing down the issues that were created by opening up the boilers and with the flush valves already in place. So we have one to
AMS.
AMS for $921.
Correct.
That's AMS, $921. And then the other one to HFI for $2,475. It'd be my motion that we approve those.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, and if the auditor just wants to take them and process them.
Okay.
All right, so that's that. And then moving on, so the rest then, which is all we agreed. So me, F.E. Moran, the fire department, and then your council president and commissioner president, a really, really great walkthrough. And I do this for a living 20 years. That was a dynamite install. That new fire enunciator system really was top notch. The closeout documents, directions on how to use the system, the as-built, any and all project documents I put on 2 USBs. So I don't know if we want to get one to Don and then one on file, but everything regarding that system is on here. And then the inspection with the fire department signing off as well. So any and all project docs are on those 2 USBs.
Okay. I'll get those to Don. Is there any place in the auditor's office to keep things like this that aren't documents?
Safe.
But safe, okay, that
Yeah, I
would
think
work.
we have one of his other
Let's
ones.
give you both of those. Can you get one to Don?
And you could just, keep the USBs, just put them on a
It's not
drive.
labeled. You might put on there.
That's what I'm saying, if you want to put them on your
One a
computer.
couple of years down the road.
For those 2, it just says fire enunciator closeouts. That's the only file that's on those. All right, so then per that walkthrough and discussion, F.E. Moran, we had the Malhops, which was doing the monitoring. We went to both them. The state of Indiana requires an additional second mode of communication on a panel. It's a new code requirement. We ended up going with F.E. Moran, who installed the system. I like that it's a brand new state-of-the-art system, and they who installed it, it's their system. We don't have anyone messing with that. So both Malhops and F.E. Moran were the same price on monitoring annually. Malhops, I believe, I got the paperwork, it was like $600 more on their one-time fee to get that second line in. So I think they were like $1,500, and F.E. Moran was a one-time fee of $900 to put that second mode of communication. So this is that $900 plus that change order, and that's what this is here. So this would be, both are on there, which the $100 the one-time $900 fee and then that change order for the duct detector, that's what this is that you guys would need to approve.
Okay.
That's changes from the original contract.
So that's, that was a text that I sent you guys about notifying that we're gonna change. So I sent an email then to the company, told them we were gonna change to, and they totally understood that it was a new system, it makes sense to have the new system monitored by those people. So we would have a invoice here to F.E. Moran for a $900 one-time fee to set up the monitoring system, and then the $33.68.
For the duct detector and wiring that wasn't seen.
Yeah, that thing that we didn't know about before, that's the only change order that we had, for a total of $4,268. It's my motion that we approve that with F.E. Moran.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
Thank you. And then also then moving on to per code, you have to have that new system inspected. We are, by the way, on all 4 of these projects, and I talked to Jerry, the maintenance guy, as well as Ed, I still have to get the jail some call-out info. So now up until the projects are completed, everything goes through me.
Right.
Now that the projects are completed, all 4 projects, 1 year even labor warranty. So the Resoners have like 5-year parts, but I'm saying across the board, the next year, anything goes wrong, even labor is warranted. So your new system is good to go until next year, 2023. So you would be approving this agreement, but this is actually for the end of 2023 to bring you into 2024.
Okay.
The system's tagged and up to speed from this date forward a year.
Okay.
So this is forward looking, but this is the agreement for F.E. Moran to inspect annually and tag per code.
Okay.
So that's what this actual agreement is for. Very straightforward.
So the call out you're talking about now is after you were done, after we're finished, if there was a problem at the jail, Jason would have to call you, he would call the company directly?
Yeah, so I will get a hold of Don, that anything regarding that fire enunciator, which is on that USB, Don has call outs, there's passwords and account info, so that's actually really critical. The jail is gonna be anything on the boilers, you call AMS. Anything on the flush valves or the Resoners, you call HFI.
Okay.
So that's basically, I'll just send an email.
Okay.
Other than that, everything is wrapped up and really easy.
And I'll still feel free, I hope that's okay to call you if I have a question.
Oh,
or a
absolutely.
problem.
I don't.
So if you don't
kinda-
get through, Jason, to whoever the vendors are, whoever owns the equipment or whose equipment it is, if you have a problem, instead of calling Matt to come fix it, you'll call that company directly to get the repair. But if you have a problem with that, contact me and I'll get hold of Matt. And we'll get
Yeah,
that
if there's
before they go.
if we're having any, and I do this across all my clients, any issues, I don't want any client pulling strings,
Right.
you know, or fighting against. We're not getting through any like any issues. You call me and oh yeah, we'll get the right people involved.
Okay.
I'll go all the way to the top. Like absolutely, we're.
Give Nick a minute there to look at that, make sure that agreement's okay.
Oh yeah, no worries. And then this last item is we talked about the $900 one-time fee for the monitoring setup for that extra line. This is the agreement which is already filled out in F.E. Moran. Don filled all this
Okay.
out. This I don't even know if you need a signature. This is just saying the annual monitoring is $600.
Okay.
So this was what you've been paying the mall-ups for years back anyway. So
Okay.
this is your document just saying. So
Right.
it's
We'll do that.
contractual, but.
We'll do that the auditor too then.
So that's it.
Okay.
There's several documents all regarding the fire system. So I just want to make sure, even to the auditor, maybe if you guys want to look, I don't want, and this is external of me, I just want to make sure that we're not double paying contractors. That if you guys just want to mall hop, I let them bid the monitoring and all that. Had a talk with Jim East that's a new system, we want to go with them. Mall ops is aware that their inspection of the system and the monitoring is
Done.
yes. So if you guys internally just really want to make sure, I don't want mall up sending invoices going forward. Like all this is under warranty and going forward, F.E. Moran is to take care of all that. If there's questions, problems, issues, please engage me.
And I sent them an email, and that's all they said I needed to do, so I sent them an email
Yeah.
stating that it was taken care of. We texted this approval, so we get this going on down the line, but I said that we would codify this at a meeting, so I'll make the motion that we enter into an agreement with F.E. Moran here to monitor our fire enunciation system at the amount of $600 a year.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm guessing we would be the subscriber?
Yes, and Don, I mean, there was multiple forms, and I mean, Don really went to town in providing that
Good.
to Effie Moran, so outside of contractually setting this up internally between you guys and Effie Moran, I would reference Don or whatever he
Okay.
did.
Okay.
So yeah, outside of the legal here, that's it. If we didn't have procurement issues, we would have been done 6 months earlier, but just a really, really great outcome. I do want to applaud you guys for investing in your assets.
Appreciate it.
It's hard to, it's not fun money to spend, and yet they're not going anywhere, and it's easy to kick the can down the road. And you guys made some serious investments in some really good equipment and installations as well.
I sent a letter to Stark County on behalf for Matt, explaining how satisfied we were with what he did, because he's got one or two people on the council up there. He said, I don't know why we need somebody else. We can just contact a vendor to come in and tell us what we need, you know. And that doesn't work very well. Good way to do it. So that's why I wrote them. Because we don't do that stuff. We don't do that stuff. Dan can build bridges, but he's probably not a heating and air guy, and a flush valve guy, and a resonant furnace guy, and that kind of stuff. I'm sure not. So
that and my only competition is architectural engineering firms, which go after the huge new construction and renovate.
Yeah.
No one is doing existing assets.
Yeah.
No one is in my space, and it's just really awesome. And you guys have really been a wonderful client. So
Well-
we will touch base in spring, just to update you on the jail exterior. 20 years of doing projects. That is, I told Jim Meese, that is the first project that I waved the white flag. Temporary white flag, but I waved it.
Yeah.
I have exhausted this. I'm done. Put this on hold and let's pick it up in spring. So we'll still get hard numbers, and at least up to that point we'll meet. So we'll talk base in spring and pick up that project again. It's not over. Just I needed a breather. I was getting nowhere.
Well,
so I
with
appreciate that.
with a new sheriff, we can probably get the inmates out there to do.
There you go.
Quit babying them all the time. and
I'll
stuff, so.
wait until that, unless you have. I just want to make sure everything's clear.
A couple things to point out in the contract. It does have it as a 3-year contract with a at least 60-day prior opt-out period. But the thing I wanted to draw your attention to is Effie Moran has a limitation liability clause in here that caps their liability to $1,500. So if it's as a result of their work, damages or liability occurs, it caps it at $1,500 or lesser if the actual damage was less than $1,500.
Is it a result of their work or a result of that inspection that they missed something?
It is here's the language. It is impractical and extremely difficult to fix the actual damages, if any, that may approximately result from failure on the part of Effie Moran to perform any of its obligations under this proposal. Accordingly, should Effie Moran be found liable for any loss, damage, or injury arising from failure of the equipment, systems, or services in any respect, Effie Moran's total liability shall be limited to the lesser of $1,500 or an amount equal to the sum it received under this proposal. Where multiple sites are covered by this proposal, liability is limited to the amount allocable to the site where the incident occurred, subject to the preceding sentence. So it has a cap at $1,500 as to the sites.
And that
each
is
individual
for,
site.
forgive me, there were multiple. What agreement is that for?
This is Effie Moran's agreement.
Correct, but was that for the annual inspection?
Yeah,
Yes,
annual
so that was
SEM
for the
inspection,
that was
testing,
for them to
fire
come out
systems.
and tag the system, prove that it worked, run the strobes, run the horns, make sure the monitoring's working, then put the tag on it per state requirement. So that's per that agreement.
Is it saying that if they miss something in the inspection which causes damage down the road, they're not liable for anything more than $1,500?
That's what this language is, yeah.
And we can reach out, but that is definitely separate from the new system, obviously. So yeah,
It's just saying that it's hard to determine what the actual cost is, so that's why they're putting it in. It's extremely difficult to inspect and find all of these things, basically. But yeah, it's a cap on that
You're
part.
paying us to inspect it, but if we miss something, then we're only liable for $1,500. Is what it's
Right.
basically saying. So you want to address a new number with them? Are you okay with that, or what do you think?
It's a matter of your palate
What
for...
do you guys think? Sounds to me like they could do the inspection, but if they didn't do the inspections, they're only on the hook for $1,500 if they didn't come do any inspections.
so what I would say regarding that, not from a legal perspective, but I think that's their boilerplate template.
Right.
I think if they were coming in on an existing system, they probably would have missed that duct detector. That was hidden, something like that. Yeah, I don't think they would have ever tested that. No one knew it was there.
Right.
This is their system, brand new, with all of the drawings included. I mean, So in terms of Effie Moran inspecting the system that they installed, my own, not legally speaking, I think that's just boilerplate jargon at that point, being this is their system.
Do we have another contract with them as to the installation of the system? I don't remember if we do or not.
I can get that, yeah, the actual agreement or proposal, I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what I'd want to
So you
see.
could get all those, all 4 projects, those contracts, if you have those.
So yeah, we've got them on file from when you signed off.
Great.
I can even email them again though, just because I've got them, I can find them right away. But
With-
yes, on file already are all 4 approved
With
and
the-
executed.
With the change at the end of the year, new order coming in, it probably wouldn't hurt if we had a separate
Done,
source of them, so if you could do that, that'd be
done,
great.
yeah, absolutely.
Just to make sure everything's where it needs to be, because they may struggle, well, not you, because you're going upstairs, but
Yeah.
whoever's in the new, when the new one comes in, may well struggle to find some things. I know this
Oh,
one, the
absolutely.
current order had difficulty finding some things from the previous order. It
And
always
if-
happens that way.
If you want, I can either mail a USB or drop off a USB. All 4 projects, all correspondence, I mean, what I put on there was like what you guys need. But for all 4 projects, I've got 20, 30 documents per project, all internal and
That'd be
so
great if you
I
don't
could
mind.
literally just put everything on a USB of all 4.
That'd be great.
Yeah, no
If there
biggie.
is a problem somewhere, we can always call you,
It's-
say, well, it's in this document, and tell us where it is, we find it, there it is, so.
And
take care
I'll
of it.
categorize it, I'll
Great.
try and
That'll work.
make it, but yeah, let me just get all 4 projects, all documentation PDFs on one drive, and you
Okay.
guys can do what you
Okay.
want with them.
Sounds
But
good.
I will, do you have a card?
That's
If
what I
not
was
here,
looking to see if I have.
so
I can
do-
write it on the back of yours.
Do me a favor, just shoot me an email, I'll send that, I'll make sure to get that directly to you.
Alright.
Alright, well, again, thank you so much, so, can we, I don't wanna leave this open-ended, that somehow, at a future commissioner meeting, I'll let Effie Moran know, we're in talks on your clause, but I just don't want that to fall off. Can you
Right.
guys just somehow make sure at a
Right.
future commissioner meeting, once resolved, that you guys do approve that?
Yeah,
Awesome,
Once Nick looks over,
Nick can take care
we'll
of it.
approve it
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
perfect.
Matt, appreciate it.
Thank you
I
so
think you
much,
did a good
sorry
job.
it was a little longer than planned to be, thank you. Yeah, just reach out and
I
that
just
way.
emailed you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks.
see ya, good luck to you, hope it goes well.
Yes, sir.
All right, now we'll go back, so now the recorder office contract with CSI, somebody hear from them?
Yeah, Mary Alice isn't here.
All right, so that would be the redaction services, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
That's just a renewal, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
says
just was
it's
asking
CSI.
her ahead of time in the meeting, if these are just renewals, and that's why I wondered if Mary Alice was coming, but she's not. As far as Nicole, I would talk, it looks like these are just renewals, but one is a 4-year contract. I don't
Okay.
know if that's a concern anybody has.
It's not to
One's
me.
a 1-year contract, but,
And I don't know what we were paying before, but
yeah, that's what I said, I assume the numbers are the same, but again, without her being here, I assume she's getting this service now, in other words, I
could we
assume.
make the motion approval contingent upon the numbers being the same as last year?
Last year, I guess we can.
Can we do that, Nick?
What, are you doing the redaction services, or which one are you doing?
Yeah,
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them.
It doesn't matter, they're both the.
we just don't know if the price went up, if the same number
You got
was last
something?
year.
I would just, again, just point out that it's a 4-year term.
Yeah,
Just
Um,
said that.
And the other one's 1 year, yeah.
No refunds or credits if the county cancels the redaction services agreement term before expiration of the agreement term. So if you've paid in more than you've received in services, you don't get it back if you cancel. One day, every day. And it says 1 day of services is in a calendar year will equal a full year. So say they did services in January of next year and then you cancel, they get paid for the whole year.
Gotcha,
So those were the things that struck me in the contract, just things you need to be aware of.
okay.
I,
Are the typical things?
yeah, I mean, the terms are usually things like that, they just vary term-wise. The no refunds is something that they're putting in there. I mean, you don't have to agree to that necessarily, but that's probably their standard term.
It's basically saying you're paying the $1,500 a year for the service,
Right.
you use this one time, you use this for the year, you owe us
Yeah,
$1,500.
as long as you're okay with that, it's, not a big deal. So
I don't have anything to base it on, so if that's the way it's always been done, then I'm okay with that.
these companies just try to contract for whatever they can that's most favorable for
Sure,
them. So,
sure.
I mean, understandably so. They
And that's why
draft the
we have you go
contract.
just the other way.
So those are the things you just need to be aware of. I don't find it to be an alarming contract, if that's what you're asking me. But
You see no reason not to sign it, other than the fact, just be aware that if they use a service one day, it's you're gonna pay for the whole year.
right, so really, it's not an issue unless you get to the point where you're canceling their service.
Okay,
So,
you guys okay with that, the way it is? Is there a motion to approve that contract?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the redaction contract with CSI for the recorder's office.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Right?
It's not typical, not to have someone explaining that the numbers are the same as last year, that have that before us, so we know what we're paying.
right.
I understand it's a renewal, but we don't know if it's a renewal at the same cost or not.
But, and the reason I pointed out in the Effie Moran contract, though, is that you're paying for a service that costs you roughly, $21.30 a year, but it's capped at $1,500.
Yeah, so you can't even get your money back on the whole thing.
So that's why I thought that was important for you to understand.
Okay. Do you want to address that with them and try to get that increase, at least of what we paid?
Well, it sounds like Matt's going to talk to them
Okay,
about that,
okay.
but I can if I need to. I mean,
Okay.
that's fine.
Whatever works for you.
I think it makes more sense that if we're signing a contract for multiple years, that at least the total amount paid out be that number, if not a greater number. So if you're looking at like a 3 or 4 year contract, it would be the total of what is paid under the contract,
Sure.
at least, I would think.
I don't think we've ever had an issue with not using service or getting rid of somebody, and it's a renewal, it's not a new one, so we know what we're getting, so.
Yeah. I mean, the likelihood is you're never going to run into it, but
Right.
my job's to point those kind of things out.
I
to you.
appreciate it. Okay. Clerk's office is asking for a carryover some vacation leave time.
Excuse me, Jim, we got another contract.
Oh, I
with the
didn't see that.
recorder.
Yeah, it's
One.
second.
Oh, yeah.
Disaster.
I thought we approved both of them.
They're
We did that.
mirror contracts.
Okay.
They have the same language.
All right, so we can,
I mean, the only difference, the disaster is only for 1 year.
and it
The
was 800.
redaction is for 4 years, so. For $1,000, so
Okay.
it's not very much money for the
Okay.
services. So I'll make a motion, we approve the disaster recovery agreement with CSI for the recorder's office.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now,
So at some point, we'll need to address, since we're talking about disaster recovery, we've had a mitigation plan in place, a operations continuation plan in place, but it's not been updated for a long time. Of where we would gather, whether a tornado or something happened to the courthouse, how would we
Right.
continue to do business? So we
Continue
need
to
to
operate.
readdress that, at some time.
Not to jump back again, Jim, but the other thing I'd point out is that even if they are kept at the 1,500, it might not be the end of the world, because if you were sued, you'd have your regular liability insurance.
That's what
And
I'm
then you'd have this showing that we took this extra step of doing this.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's something to consider also.
Okay. It's why we're in your hands, Nick.
But I would feel better if the number equaled out to what you'd paid in, though.
Okay, see what he comes up with. Okay, the letter here says, this is from the clerk, Henry Harper. I respectfully request that Sue Morris be allowed to carry over 20.32 hours of vacation leave above what is allowed to be carried over. She's been using up comp time she earned during early voting and election day as required by the county handbook. He didn't realize she was at the point of losing any of her vacation leave. She's a very hardworking, independent employee that needs to be allowed to carry over this leave and get it used quickly in the new year. I respectfully request she be allowed to carry 20.32 hours of vacation leave over. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was asking Nicole, one, whether she was gonna continue to be working, because that makes a big difference. If she's not gonna continue to work, you can't carry, no reason to carry the hours over. As far as Nicole knew, she was gonna stay on. We have approved in the past others, but that's because like COVID or whatever, where they worked and they couldn't take it off because they
Right, we need it.
needed a
Yeah.
working here or here. This doesn't quite fit maybe exactly what we've done in the past. She has been using comp time, which she earned
She's supposed to
for
use
the early
first.
voting. So that's why partly why she couldn't use the vacation, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something that the handbook says vacation time has to be used a certain way, and if we waive it one time, is that gonna open up a can of worms? that
That's
any
always the tough part, the
employee-
precedent
yeah.
you set, you know, it's always tough. I can understand. I mean, we've had, Bill Cook would be an example,
Yeah,
that he
Bill
had to
was
work as
one.
dispatcher because we just needed a dispatcher.
Some of the EMS guys, I think we've
Yeah.
approved
Yeah, we
because they
have.
just
Yeah.
couldn't get away during
Yeah.
COVID, and
And she was needed during election and voting. I wouldn't have much of a understanding on this, and I don't want to put Nicole on the spot of saying that, but that we should or shouldn't do that. I don't have a problem as long as if we approve this one here at the end of the year, that somebody who goes using their comp time as they earned it, and they got caught that they can't take any more time off at the end of the year, and now they got 3 days of vacation, almost 3 days here that should be used.
I think that's at least from my view, that's the caveat. If they'd have said,
Oh, it's the end of the year, I
oh,
didn't
end of
know.
the year, I just didn't realize
Yeah.
I needed to take it,
Yeah.
but we didn't have this other circumstance,
right.
I would have probably said no.
Yeah.
Okay, you should have known the handbook, you should have followed,
Yeah.
but in this case, she was earning comp time because she was working early voting. Early voting only occurs
And election.
periodically.
Yeah. Are we opening up a worm here, a can of worms with this?
No, not necessarily.
We can do it case by case? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you're
just-
adopting it as a firm policy
We're not.
going forward,
We're
but
not.
it's, I mean, the policy we've always had is on a case-by-case basis, they can request this type of
And as
thing.
Bruce said, I think that does have extenuating circumstances in it,
Right.
that she just couldn't take the rest of the
If
whole
that
time off
little,
because she had
if
that.
that little circumstance wouldn't have been there, I'd probably say no, because I don't want every employee
You okay with that, Dan?
I'm
Feel the
fine.
same
I
way?
didn't
Yes,
realize,
I'm fine
but
with
in
it.
this case, she's been taking time off, but she's
Yes.
been using the comp time she earned by
Okay.
having to work early voting.
Could we make sure to show in the minutes then, if that's your motion to approve it, that your basis for approving it is the fact that
Due
she
to
had
the
comp time that she
Right.
had used first before she could use her vacation time?
I
Get that
think
okay in the
so.
minutes there? So if it comes up again, we can show why we made exception? So if
I'll
that's your
make that
motion?
yes.
Okay. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. It's always a tough thing, you know, you always want to try to help everybody, but once you open that can of worms, now you can't pick and choose who can and who can't, you know, it can't be arbitrary. All right, survey. Okay, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I would know, you would have known, Nicole, you probably on the floor got this email or not, do you?
Don't know anything about it, no.
All right, it's just a census survey.
You might just give this to Mary Ann and just tell her she might wanna call this number. And just maybe see if they've received the census. If not, she probably needs to do it after she gets into office.
Okay, then we have from Branson Insurance, the additional
It's
co-
act-
coverage.
No, it's actually for the bonds for the newly elected officials, they just need a signature of the,
You guys
Ah,
do those every election time. when
Okay.
there's new. It just bonds to anyone.
Okay. Is there a place for a signature? Yes,
it's on
yes,
our-
there is. Yeah, number 3, yeah.
She's got one for you, Jim.
Okay. So do we need a motion on this then, to approve the policy change?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I make the motion that, well, I probably shouldn't keep making a motion, you guys should probably do that.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the policy change to add the newly elected officers to the bond schedule that our insurance company has.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Looks like first named insured, and that would be us. And then it needs to be recorded.
Yeah, the bonds are recorded. I don't know if, I think Carla does that probably. I don't know if each individual office holder does or not, but
She told me after you guys signed it to take it down and have it recorded.
recorded, okay, so you take it down, okay.
Science is recorded.
Carla keep a copy too after that, but the recorder would have it. Yeah.
Jeez. Science time of year, I guess. All right.
The fee ordinance schedule, that was approved last meeting.
Yes.
But I think in our confusion, we didn't sign.
Okay, I see you signed that, yep. Sorry I keep coughing, it's not the, it's just science drainage, it's been going on about 4 days now. Thought I was healed, but obviously I'm not. We all need to sign this. This is the 19th. December 2022. Then it will need to be attested. All right, and we're ready for departments, I think. Sheriff, got anything?
Nope, just want to get the last official meeting here.
You
Give him a
know,
hard time, you said
I
that
know
this
it.
was gonna be the,
and I was supposed to bring donuts, he said, but I didn't, see?
Yeah, about that.
I failed you, yep.
Jim, do you have keys to lock up the building?
Yes.
Okay. Cindy asked.
But I don't want to carry on, Justin, but I think I speak for all of us, and I think I speak for the people in the county. It's been a pleasure. I think you've done an excellent job in that position. It's 8 years that I remember less contentious things with the sheriff's department and rest of the government in those 8 years, and I think you've done a good job. I think your people you look over, I think they feel safe as as we can be, and I think we're in good hands, and look forward to Jason stepping up. I look forward to Jason being your boss and telling you what to do from now on. Looking forward to that. Have you kept the list, Jason, of all the things he's got coming? Okay.
paybacks.
I like that, okay.
No, I've enjoyed it, it's been an honor, so thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we were sitting at the youth and government thing the other day, not to brag on Turkey Run, but youth and government thing, and this is when we have a bunch of seniors follow the people around, see how government works and how the offices work, and we're sitting there at the table of this panel discussion with all these seniors out there, and of the 5 of us,
Yeah.
6 of us. There was 4 of us were Turkey Run people. That was pretty good statement there, I think. So we had the from Council Roy Reisman and Justin and Scott Ramsey for the Park Heritage Board and me, and I thought we were well represented. And I think you've done an excellent job for us. Knowing you in the 8th grade, I'm not sure I ever saw you being sheriff and doing the things you do, but now that you're an old guy, I can see that happening. You did well. Proud of you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Highway Guy.
Is all doing all right this evening?
Are you ready for your big weekend coming up?
Yeah, I guess.
They better be sleeping now, because they may not be sleeping much.
Yeah, Thursday,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday,
Thursday
Saturday.
and Friday. Well, I've got a,
Before you go, how many trucks we got working? How many trucks are ready for the weekend
well, I think there's,
with drivers?
well, not all with drivers, but, I think we got 13.
Okay, so we have 13 on the road at one time? Good, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I
interrupt
think
you there.
we're probably gonna have to go with one shift, I mean,
Yeah,
because shut down too much stuff if we,
yeah,
the talks, we're gonna have the graders too, so.
okay.
I've got an out-of-cycle check to Austin Swain, the amount of $37.34. He already had the mailbox put up,
Okay,
so I just told him we'd pay for the post in the mailbox. So that's what we did. We got the bill there, and there's some extra costs there that he's got, but we didn't pay for
okay.
those.
Apparently, turned around in his driveway in Mecca, and apparently we backed over a mailbox, knocked the mailbox down the post, and so that's the repayment for that. So we just need a motion to approve that out-of-cycle check. Want to make
Do
one?
that, Dan, or want me to?
That's fine.
I make a motion, we approve the out-of-cycle check to Austin Swain for his new mailbox for $37.34.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Then I've got a tax exempt forms for us on our fuel for this coming year.
That's nothing we have to prove, we just have to sign those, right?
See, it looks
Yeah,
like
I
a
think
shoe
you
on
just
the
have-
Jim.
Get back to Randy, it says, okay. I checked with Janie about the signing for the Community Crossings grant, the last one we got. That I said we needed to have a resolution and all that, but Janie talked to them, she said that we were good for that year because we'd already done that for 2022. Something we need to think about here pretty quick is the next round of Community Crossings opens January 2nd, but closes January 27th, and it takes a while to get there, to get the things in. So do you guys have time next week to get together and ride? I got one of mine, and it might take most, we talked about this last year, about Strawberry Road, 10 o'clock road to Towpath. I don't know how many miles that is.
What about 350 north?
And 352, yeah, that's right. That was going all the way, the rest of the way out, so.
Yeah.
We just need to decide what needs to be where, and,
That goes all the way from 59 to county line.
yeah.
So that's 5.5 mile.
And we're getting what, 7 or 8 miles out of a,
Well, I've got 5, I think.
5.5.
Yeah, I think that was 5.5.
so we may have to put that off another year then. I mean, Strawberry's okay, but we patched that so many times, it's so
Yeah.
rough.
But that one over there is worse.
It is,
Yes.
by far, and it's been waiting a long time, I agree.
Yeah.
So, do we need to go see it, or can we agree on that? If that's gonna be, take most of our money, we just need to go ahead and do
Let's
that?
just go ahead with that one.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
We've
And,
looked-
And then,
we've looked at
then
it.
I was thinking if we did have a little extra money left, maybe go down to Mansfield and get at least Martin Road.
okay,
From the
great.
bridge up to 620.
Yeah, Martin
And then
Road,
whatever,
definitely.
620 if we could, but I
Okay.
don't see us being able to get that.
Okay. Strawberry Road, I know it's been patched a couple times. They're having to use that now from 36 to the school for school buses. And I know it gets rough, it gets holes sometimes, but I know it's been patched.
Cloma Road.
Is it
That's
Clover?
Sonoma Road, yeah.
I thought it was Strawberry on that side. Past Big
Strawberry
Inch?
goes on west toward Montezuma, toward the Melcher Bridge.
You were talking about that.
It's strawberry.
Yeah, Strawberry, they're by Big Inch, turns off at 36 or by Big
Oh.
Inch, and goes back way to school there?
Yeah, to the,
To Montezuma,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
to the doctor's office.
Yes.
Yeah, to the
We go from that road that comes in off of 36 to the doctor's office.
Yes.
The other way has been closed.
Okay,
That's not-
yes, it has, yeah, no, we're
That's
talking
a-
about the one, just that stretch there, from Big Inch 36 to,
Half-
yeah.
That's something maybe we
half a
can get.
mile or whatever.
We can get.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I have looked at that one,
Okay,
put it on our schedule.
great, okay. I was just asking about that, so if we could do something about that, that'd be great. Okay. That goes back to Randy.
So, yeah, between 350 and that road down, you said by Mansfield
1200,
and
oh,
over there in Montezuma, that,
Well, it's prioritized though then, so 350 north would be the first choice. We have money left, which of the other two you want next?
Martin Road.
Martin Road?
not Martin, yeah, it is Martin Road,
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
down by
That'd be your second choice?
Yeah,
And if you had anything left
because
over after
that
that?
is shot.
Yes, it is. It was a couple years ago shot, yeah.
And I'd also like to, it's all centered on the right of way.
Okay,
So, where that guy is that has the building toward 59, or the lot there. He's right up against the edge of the old blacktop. So I wanna set it over, we got 40 foot of right of way in there.
okay,
And I like to set it over toward the east, I would say,
okay. Here, you take care of that, yeah.
when we pave that.
And your third choice, if there was any more, if they came up with more money or something, your third choice would be,
doctors.
Yeah,
Strawberry Road.
otherwise, I'm gonna try and get it in our schedule.
okay. Then I'd make the motion then, to prioritize the next request for community crossing, which is due opens January 2nd. That first we would finish 350 north from 59 to county line. If there were funds remaining, we would do Martin Road. And then if there were funds left, we would do Strawberry Road from 36 by Big Inch to the town limit.
Martin Road in Mansfield, not all of them.
Right, Martin Road in Mansfield, yeah, I better put that in a minute to make sure that's in there. Martin Road in Mansfield.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay? So, as long as it takes them to get the estimates done, I guess we need to get on there pretty quick. It's
Yeah.
almost January 2nd already, so.
And I
Okay,
don't know if he's on vacation or not. We did contact NDOT with, because they gave us too much money to start with. They gave us $284,957.54, but we,
a couple thousand too much.
yeah, a little over 2,000.
Yeah.
So now it's, and they appreciate we contacted them.
I thought they might just give it to you since they
Yeah,
made a
I thought
mistake on that.
Yeah, no such luck. Now it's $282,027.78.
Okay.
And I had a gentleman, Brian Pearson, I think he was the maintenance man at Rocky Fork Lake. Of course, we got the road paved now, and people speeding. So he was wanting to do a speed limit, mainly between north of Rocky Fork Lake entrance, north entrance, and then south of the south entrance. I can get you the distance on that.
It's funny how those things happen, you know, we get people complain about the condition of the road,
Yeah,
and then we fix it, and they
Yeah,
get
then
calls
you
because
complain
people are
that it
speeding too
didn't
fast on them. How do you fix that?
I know,
And
my,
then
my
also-
area, I'd like to put speed bumps
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
To slow them down.
I got people to ask about
What do you want that limit to be, 30?
30. And then he asked about putting caution pedestrian walking signs or something like that up. And I told him I didn't really know if we could do that or not, because we can't put up children playing signs.
Yeah, I don't know that we
We're
need to do
inviting
that
them to play
anyway.
on the road,
Uh-huh.
so.
We have
but,
people walking on roads every place, so,
Everywhere, crossing roads.
everywhere.
Yeah.
What about if they bought them, put them up themselves?
That's always that rough area, we're talking about it can't be arbitrary, you know, if they brought the sign to us and we approved the sign, and can we let them put it in our right of way? And still turn people down and want to put other signs up on our right of way?
That's the way we've always done the children playing signs in the past. If they wanted, they.
What do they want these signs to say?
Resident,
Pedestrian.
pedestrian crossing or something like that. Just
Pedestrians
out there.
walking or
Delay.
something like that.
Out there at Rocky Fork, like they walk down the road all the time. Yeah.
Retired people.
I don't have a problem with
Would
that so
that be
long as we
something to
can say no to somebody else.
I'm trying to think of how far that is, or how much opening. Is there still a lot of pine trees on that?
Yeah, there's some.
Can they just put them up on their own property, just far enough off, just so it's right off of our right of way, and there's nothing we can do about it?
Well, I don't see why they couldn't.
That would
They
probably,
stay out of your way that way anyway, if they're
Yeah.
off the right of way.
that'd probably be easier if they just put them up on their own property.
Well, they need to understand there's no teeth to them if they do that.
Yes,
They're
there is.
whatever.
Well, we can do that next meeting or something.
Okay.
Get next time, check it out.
Speed limit we can do, that's not a problem.
Fine.
Speed limit we can do,
Yeah.
is once we get if you guys are okay with them
I'm
doing the
fine with
resolution
that,
on
yeah.
that, then we'll vote on that next time we get the resolution together.
I'll get him the distance, probably
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay? Anything else?
No, I think that's all I had.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the check or the claim? Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, anything you want to say before you get at it?
Nope, I think we're good.
Looking forward to working with you.
Getting in here.
We made this very plain to Justin all along. We can't do everything, but if there's anything you think we can help you with, don't be shy about letting us know.
I appreciate it, thank you.
We want nothing but you to be as successful as possible, so we're here to help you.
Thank you.
Randy, have a good Christmas.
Okay, I got something to talk to you two.
No, good. Checks will work. Checks.
You've already got yours.
Yes, I have. You guys won't want them, they're not worth eating. I wouldn't-
Okay, you can have it.
I wouldn't mess with it.
You ready? Thank you.
Anybody got anything else? Newspaper lady, got anything?
No.
Yeah, okay. Is there a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion with adjourn.
Second.
Adjourn.